Hello, everybody. Welcome to Top Football Club. We are live here again with Football Tonight, the name of the show. Chris Rodriguez, your host, right here. Laurent will be back. He'll be back. He'll be in about 5 minutes or so. But we got to talk about, man, we have a lot to talk about when it comes to just a lot going on in the Premier League right now. Week 4, Arsenal taking the bull by the horn, beating Manchester United, 11th right now for Manchester United. It's pretty critical right now for the Red Devils, I would say. And I mean, it's 4 weeks in, so people can say that it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's just 4 weeks in, and they have a lot of time, and certainly they have a lot of time to get something done to fix what's happening right now. We're going to talk about whether Ten Hag is the man for the job. Is he the man for the job? We're going to talk about that. Of course, Arteta getting this team Arsenal in track after actually when I started this match, we were talking about with people in the chat, and I was saying, listen, Arteta is not. I don't think he is clear on what he's doing. As the match went on, Arsenal and Arteta did everything possible to get this game. And in the beginning, actually, I didn't see Manchester United, just being ran over by Arsenal. I didn't see that at all. But some people did see that. And we're going to discuss a little bit more into it and see what's happening. Now, we're also going to talk about Newcastle, what's happening with my beloved new team, what's happening with Newcastle United. What are we doing? Is Eddie Howe really ready for this challenge? I've said it. We posted it, of course, on social media, on Instagram as a reel, and people gave us some, anti-Top Football Club comments. They were telling us, how could you say that? It's Eddie Howe. We were bad last season, and he got us to this point. How could you? Type of comments. And I wonder, and that was after, last week's match versus Liverpool. I wonder if that's changed a little bit after this match this weekend against Brighton. A really, really good team, 6th in this Premier League 23-24 Premier League that we're running on right now. But even though just 4 games in, a really good Brighton team. But I think Newcastle, they can do more. Only 3 points for Newcastle so far this season. And again, week 4, right? Only 4 games, no big deal. Are we really going to go there as, a no big deal type thing and just move on? I don't believe so. I think we need to discuss a little bit of what's happening. Of course, we're going to have everybody, as many clips as possible. So if you're listening to this, to the podcast, if you're listening live on the topfcradio.com radio station, or if you are listening on YouTube live, you can have your say. Just comment, and if we see it live, we will react to it. And if you are, of course, listening on demand, you can do so on the Top FC News website and on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. Well, you can do so by just leaving us a message where you see available, and we'll read it in the next show. Laurent, again, he'll be back soon, and we're going to discuss what's going on. What's going on with Chelsea, man? Chelsea, oh, mercy. A Chelsea team that we had a lot of expectations this season, and all of a sudden, falling short. I'm going to put Laurent. Laurent is back on right now. What's happening, Laurent? A lot. Oh, you got your green screen, man. I like it. You're gonna have to put.
I don't have anything on it. Someone else is gonna have to put something on it.
Oh, it's okay. I'll figure that out. Don't worry about that. We're gonna put some nice Manchester United banners and some nice, some nice stuff. Well, we might put some Brighton. You were onto something you were onto something with Brighton, but we got to start with the match of the week. We had it live on topfcradio.com, and also it was the match of the week for everybody, I would assume. And it was a really good match. I felt like both teams started fairly decent. I know you think that the Manchester United was just getting ran through by Arsenal. I don't necessarily agree with that, but obviously it's the way it ended. What are your thoughts?
Yes.
As you're sipping your red Solo cup,
Yeah, no. So I thought,
and we'll see the do you see the highlights?
United set up. Yeah,
Okay.
United set up to defend, and I think they did a good job of that. So it was Lindelof and Lisandro Martinez. The reason why there was a little bit of an argument about dominance was they got all the play, they got all the corners. It was played mostly in United's half. Ultimately, did they create a lot of chances? Not too many, but it was controlled and in their side. Now, if that was the plan of United, then they did a good job executing their plan. But I would not say that United were playing good football. I wouldn't say either team were playing particularly good football, but most of this game was played in the United end, despite the fact that there were not many chances on Onana. The first goal came, we have the Havertz miss, which is shocking. It's just
that was it was, and I mean on the second goal, on the United goal, actually not the only goal.
And he makes the mistake on that one. He makes the mistake on that.
But also don't you think that if anybody else would have made that mistake, maybe it wasn't talked about? But then again,
but
it's him again.
That's where he is right now, right? Yeah, that's where.
So you can look at it both. You can look at it both ways. Yeah.
And a really good finish by Rashford. That's what Rashford does. He gets his first goal of the season. Very important goal. Really nice stuff from Eriksen. I mean, when United have their moments, they clearly have the players. But I think the question still has to be, what are they trying to do? What is their mode of play? Are they getting better? You've been sort of saying this is an average manager with an average team. And as much as I defended Ten Hag last season, that was on the basis of the season before, which was objectively terrible. Rangnick and Ole, that was a complete disaster. And now he put it together. They got the wins. They got to fourth place, all well and good. But now it's year two. He doesn't have Ronaldo distraction. He doesn't have De Gea, at the back kicking balls out of bounds. He's got more players that he wants. He's got Casemiro there from the start of the season. He's got Antony from the start of the season. He's got the players he wants. Where is this vaunted Ajax play? What is still happening? This United team is still kind of disconnected. Connected in defense, but not in attack. Like, I think they can defend well. I think, Wan-Bissaka, when they play with Wan-Bissaka in right back, is it left or right? Is he the left back? I can never remember. When he plays, whoever is on the opposite side of him disappears. He's that good of a defender. Like, Martinelli really didn't do much aside from that one pass to Havertz. And I really like Wan-Bissaka as a defender. I think the way to think about Wan-Bissaka, if you want to put it in terms of context, he's as good a defender as Trent Alexander is as an attacker. And you know what I mean? Like, if they were one person, they would be the greatest fullback of all time.
Well, but I mean, to be honest with you, just to answer what you said about what I said about Ten Hag, I think it's real. And the more you watch it, I think last week and this week more now, he's being questioned, and are they going to sack him? And it's not even a matter of that.
They're not going to fire him. No,
but the thing is, it's not even a matter of that. Maybe he could be a good coach. See, this is the thing. When it comes to elite coaches, I know that word gets thrown around like confetti nowadays, but
there are only like 5.
But that's what United needs. And it could be wrong. Like a Pep Guardiola could go wrong.
They tried it though. They tried it. They had
with who?
They had Van Gaal.
Well, no.
They had Van Gaal.
Well, in all due honesty, I don't think Van Gaal is an elite coach. I mean, I don't know what resume he has other than being a coach that's been around. Mourinho, you can say
he won the Champions League in 1996.
In 1996
with Ajax.
in
He went to the World Cup final in 2010
yeah,
against Spain.
he did well with Spain, not Spain.
Bayern,
No, well,
the Netherlands.
with Netherlands in the 2014 World Cup semifinals and everything. So he's a good coach, but I mean, I don't think he's on the Pep level. I don't even think he's on the Klopp level.
Well, he's not coaching anymore, right? He's
But the thing is, like, and I know right now we're talking about names when there's a guy there, and I just don't think he's on that level of coaching. I think that's what United needs.
Not anymore.
I think that's what United needs, and unfortunately, there's only a few, like you said, and some of them are taken.
And why would you take the United job?
Well,
it's a shit job.
Well, United is still a club that people want to go to. The coaches do want to coach United. I mean,
I want to go one level up, and really always talk about this. This is the worst run club of all the big clubs by far.
Yeah.
The owners are terrible. They literally sabotaged this season by saying we're selling. What happens? Have you ever been at a company where they say there's going to be layoffs, where they say they're going to be sold? Everything shuts down. Everyone starts to be for themselves. Everyone starts to look over their shoulder. Everyone starts to worry, am I going to be fired when we get sold? You seriously took 8 months to tell people you weren't going to sell? You basically jeopardized your season.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. They're the worst. They literally fucked their own team by saying they were going to sell and not sell.
I think when it comes to football teams, I think ownership does have an effect. But at the end of the I think it has an effect. But at the end of the day, the ones who play, I don't think they're thinking about, oh, the Glazers are still owning the team. I'm going to suck.
But it's in the air. It's in the air, right? It affects the transfers. It affects the budgets. It affects the people who give you your food. It's in the club. The disharmony. Because now it's 10 years, right? It's years of this where great managers have come in. Mourinho, Van Gaal, guys have come in, and it's the same problems.
Well, you also got to look
up and say it's not the manager, it's the club.
Well, you have to also look at the player. Listen, I look at every match individually. I understand it's a whole thing. When you analyze the whole thing, you have to analyze that. But I mean, you're gonna tell me that a team is not like this team. Arsenal tied the game minutes, like a minute and something, right? Because of the Glazers owned them. That doesn't make sense. So when we look at the game,
I understand the game itself is different. I'm just saying when we're talking about the whole of the club and some of the rot that's in it, it shows up on the pitch, right? Now in this individual moment, yes. Did they let Odegaard score? That's the Arsenal that we're looking for, that we expect to see more often.
Yeah, on the other hand, yeah.
I thought that we'd see that when they had their regular back four. And I thought with Gabriel and Saliba, Zinchenko, White, that was the unit. And so United didn't do much because they had that group together, right? You saw Gabriel pushing out, fouling Rashford like at the halfway line over and over again. But on the other side, United's defense was actually very, very good. And they stopped everything from happening. Two people I'd like to call out, not going forward, but going back.
Right.
Antony and Rashford were not letting those wingers do shit. They were back there marking Saka, marking Martinelli. Nobody was ever on an island. So they did their defensive job, but they didn't generate anything.
And
except that offside goal.
on the opposite end, I mean, Arsenal did what they had to do. I mean, I had been questioning Arteta, and this team in this match in particular against a tough club not tough. I mean, obviously United haven't been playing good, but you still have to. It's United coming to the Emirates, so it's not. Coaches don't receive United and think, oh, this is a good match because they've been losing. No. So Arteta knows that he has to win this match.
He should.
And so, well,
never win on the road.
And so Arteta somehow, and the players, of course, they have now they did get lucky on the Declan Rice goal, and some people might argue that United's goal was valid. I mean, right now,
yes, Eric Ten Hag would.
Well, and we're going to have actually, now that you say that, I do want to listen to what he had to say about that.
But here, I do want to say before we do this, I hate VAR. I hate that United fans lose that moment because for them, that was an incredible moment. And that is not the intention of football to take moments like that away. That is a half an inch. The spirit of the rule should have been that goal is scored. Period. Right?
Right.
They should have one flag per game that you can check. Offside, everything, so that we don't lose moments like this, because that was an incredible goal. Garnacho is such a great young player. He might not be ready as a starter, but when you need a goal and you can push, that was there. The flick from Højlund into Casemiro was really good. United looked better with Højlund in, so this was his first game. And I think, one of the things that's not really talked about with VAR calls and goals betting, especially when you are at home in a big game, the turn of you lost to you've won, it lifts your team. The VAR call literally lifted Arsenal.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, they were going to win this game.
Right. Yeah.
Because they came after United.
Let's listen to Ten Hag.
Mm-hmm.
But you're already telling me, and I've seen it the same. It was similar. Performance was right, but the results were not on our side. And definitely many decisions were against us. Now, let's start there. The penalty given, but rejected. Everyone was seeing. It's a swabber. Not get booked for it. And then foul on Højlund in the penalty area. Not even noticed. I don't think not even by the VAR judged. Then the disallowed goal from Garnacho. I think wrong angle, and you see. I think it's onside. And then the final goal. How can they allow that goal? It's a clear and obvious foul on Johnny Evans. Otherwise, he should block the shot from Declan Rice. So it's a lot.
All right, so that's what Ten Hag had to say. What are your thoughts?
I can't. With
this on every single play that he mentioned, do you think any of them was he right?
He's absolutely wrong on every single thing he said. This is the team, Manchester fucking United, complaining about calls. Are you out of your fucking mind? He's insane. If you thought that Onana game in week 1 wasn't a foul, you cannot speak. Everything you say becomes invalid. He's crazy. First of all, you get calls like crazy. Manchester City, offside, Rashford goal. Shut up. I could go on and on with this bullshit. Don't give your team excuses. He's the manager of Manchester United. Now he's portrayed to his team, we didn't lose this game. You lost because you let freaking Declan Rice be alone 15 yards. He could have checked the weather on a corner.
Well, I mean, okay. if that was a foul,
you should have lost to Wolves on a clear and obvious error that you got the call on. And you got the Havertz turn overcalled. That should have been a penalty. Come on. He wants a dive? Get out of here. The guy clipped his foot. It's crazy from Ten Hag to think this way.
Well,
he's giving his team an excuse. I can't. A United manager complaining about calls is beneath him.
But I understand that. I understand that point of view now. But if things are, I mean, if they're a foul, they need to be called regardless. If we're trying to bring in VAR and everything has to be perfect, then we need to be.
VAR, first of all.
Well,
if there's no VAR.
But I'm saying it's happening.
Then Arsenal have a penalty, and the Garnacho goal is to level the game.
Well,
probably the right result, a draw.
Right. Now the third goal is out of context. I mean,
they're just on a break. It's fine.
But people will. But see, that's the thing with football that people will notice. Hey, we beat United 3-1. Damn, you let them score 3 goals. You know what I mean?
Matters. All that stuff matters. Sure.
So
and I think that from a United perspective, they can take the fact that they were very, very good defensively. They didn't really give up that much, to be fair, but they lost again away to a top 9 side. I shared a graphic. I talked about it on my show. They do not have a win away from home under Ten Hag against anyone who wasn't relegated or anything. Their best win was against Fulham. They are terrible away from home. And that's my point about them. Something is not fresh in Denmark or the Netherlands. Then you've got this Sancho thing, which I know is another story that's outside of the game.
We're going to play this.
Sancho just called him a liar.
Okay, well, before we get into that, let's listen to what actually Ten Hag had to say about Sancho.
Sancho.
Well, let me see. This is for another clip, but he basically said that he's not fit. He's not fit.
No, he said he's not in the side because he hasn't been practicing well enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I mean fit, that's what I meant. Like he's not up to par with the
No, but it sounded more than that. It sounded,
of course, like
he's not ready in practice.
Yeah, so I mean, let's talk about that. Now, I've heard a lot of things today of, Sancho, he shouldn't have said anything. He shouldn't have tweeted anything. Well, Ten Hag shouldn't have said that in front of everybody and every camera because he knows.
Right, unless he's trying to say something.
Unless you're trying to, exactly. So, I mean, I think it was fair that Sancho came out with the statement. Usually these things don't happen. They stay in-house. And so there's a bit now. So is there a problem now because once you do this, nobody's safe, right? Like because everybody in the locker room,
he's not playing for United ever again.
Well, the thing, but I'm looking at it from the other player perspective to say, hey, listen, he just sold this guy out. Why wouldn't he do the same thing to any of us? He sold Cristiano Ronaldo out. That's for what
That was a
people could say
that he needed to win. He needed to win that one.
But I don't know that because look at United now. How did he need to win that?
Because because Cristiano was holding that team back, and in fact, they couldn't play at all. Like anything you're getting now, everyone was giving everything to Ronaldo. It was a power struggle. It was like, is this Cristiano's team or my team? And he's like, you know what? It's not Cristiano's team. It's my team. He had to do it, or he would have never been able to manage his team, and he would have gotten fired already. I'm telling you, they had to get rid of him.
I don't know.
That was a mistake, first of all. They shouldn't have never signed him. That set them back, honestly.
I don't agree with that. I mean, I don't even think Ten Hag has done anything remote. I mean, to be honest with Ole, I just don't see the contrast. I see this the same team that's sucking.
It's not the same. Trust me.
I mean, well,
it was worse.
I trust you, but
worse. Much. Trust me. I watch United. I watch United for Schadenfreude reasons. I would consider making a podcast that was, I hate Man United. I'm going to watch them. Well, I know how bad they were not coached under Ole. Zero.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that I just don't think. To be honest, I don't know that Ten Hag. I mean, I know that he got into the Champions League, but that's okay, I guess. But that you don't celebrate that in United. So I
understand.
I don't see where this goes.
Who are you to try and tell me you're more important than Cristiano Ronaldo? That's true of anyone. That's the problem with Ronaldo. He's bigger than every club he's at. And if you're trying to move a team as a group forward, you cannot have that man on your team. Ask Juventus. It was a mistake. It was good for 1 year, but after that, they were like,
"Well, I think
he's big. He's bigger than our club.
I don't think
get him out.
I don't. I think a lot of stuff was leaked. I don't think
by who,
but no, from
by Cristiano.
No. A lot of stuff was leaked from the Ten Hag side versus and against Cristiano Ronaldo. I think they were both going at that and at a certain point.
Was it Ten Hag or Cristiano that went on Piers Morgan and put the whole franchise on blast?
because of everything that was happening and right there Cristiano Ronaldo.
That's exactly why Cristiano had to go. Okay,
but of course, once he does that, he knows he's going to go. He knows that because he put everybody, but he put the whole organization on blast.
We're litigating the past. Anyway,
I know that, but I'm saying what it relates to this is that Ten Hag always looks for a scapegoat, and now it's Sancho. So who is it going to be next? You know what I mean? It never takes accountability and saying you'll never hear Ten Hag say my team sucked and we need to do this, we need to do that. You never hear to the likes of Pep Guardiola, who's been blunt many times in his life.
He puts the team on blast.
To Postecoglou, who tells you how it is. You know what I mean? You'll never hear that from Ten Hag. And how can you get better? How can you move forward when you start putting your team on blast? Because how can your players trust you?
I understand. I think the point on that trust side, the thing that I think about with them is like, if I'm Sancho or I'm Garnacho or I'm Palestri or I'm any of these young players, and I see Antony put in between 4 or 6 out of 10 performances week after week after week, and I don't get his spot, it'd be fine. I could understand if there were guys pulling up trees and kicking ass. But Martial's terrible. Anthony's terrible. Why isn't Sancho playing on the other side? Like, why isn't, all these things? I'm just like, I think ultimately what will happen with United is they will put Mason Mount and Anthony's side, and that will be the best version of the team because he's an offensive player. He's not a deep lying midfielder, a hard worker. He'll become the third forward and a 3 on that side. Anyway, that's when he was at his best when Chelsea won the Champions League. Hopefully Ten Hag gets to that. But it's fair enough. Ten Hag does do a lot of blaming. Ten Hag is not perfect, but he did clean up some of this team. It does have a vision. You cannot agree with his vision, but at least he's someone who's putting something down. And I think they have to give him more because if they jump again, then they're right back where they started and everything's a mess. And it's back on the Glazers and it's a shit show all over again.
Well, and then that's kind of one of the things that Cristiano was saying, that including the Glazers into this into this. It's a mess of a club, and it's not up to par with their history. So we'll see what happens with United. Obviously,
I do want to make sure we don't short shrift Arsenal, right?
Oh,
this
no.
is a huge game for Arsenal.
This is a huge game for Arsenal. They showed guts. They have to keep on proving because right now, I don't know that. They have to, according to them, to their standards, they have to win the Premier League, and it's going to be hard.
Try. They have to be in it. The thing that I think about, remember we were talking about Newcastle a lot. Now we were talking about killers and whatever. We know that I think Saka's a killer, or he's on his way. Okay, Martinelli's a killer. He gets on the ball, he wants it, and Declan Rice took a step towards it. One thing with Arsenal that we know, especially at home, they come back and they don't give up in the end. They've scored many, many late game goals in their attempted title run. So when they do lose it, it's because of tactical changes that don't happen. They ship goals or Rob Holdings in defense or whatever. But if they're close and they can try and get it, they have a goal in them to push. And I really want to give that credit to Odegaard. I really love him.
He is the best player.
One player I look at, he's their best player. He's the captain. He's that one player that Manchester City, if I'm like, you know what? If there's one dude on this team that I would like, is that guy.
You
got that City quality. Yeah,
you can't sell him short. Obviously, what Arsenal did was tremendous, and it's just a matter of, basically keep doing it. They're going to have a tough year because for them it's about winning the Premier League. You're doing really well in the Champions League. If not, getting close to the finals, semifinals. If you can say that would be a really long stretch.
They've only been in one semifinal. They've only been to one final.
And to one final against Barcelona, and then they lost that one. So it'll be again. I'm saying it's a tough year because there's a lot of expectations, and we'll see what happens. Arteta, this is his club, and yeah.
I think the thing, and I listen to Pep Guardiola because he's the best coach in the world, and he used to say this about City all the time. It's like it's not about the winnings and losing. It's just in April, in May, are you there? Are you within 5 points? Are you 8 points away? Are you a couple with a game in hand and an opponent? Like, you just have to keep getting better week after week so that at the end you're there. Don't let City get away and just be there. I think Arsenal can be there. There's still some tweaks. This Havertz thing, if he's going to die on that sword, he's going to lose the title trying to fit this guy in.
Well, yeah.
I think he still have to go to that back four. I think that's the way to go. I think he'll end up with Rice in the Havertz spot and Partey in the number 6 spot instead of Rice, or the other way around. Someone has to replace Havertz, or it has to become Havertz. I don't know what's going to happen, or maybe it's Vieira. Every single week, Vieira comes on for Havertz, and boom, Arsenal are there. They start moving, things start happening, and they start things going. I felt so bad. All the moments in this game, aside from the ending goals, involved Havertz. The miss, the error to Eriksen that sprung Rashford, and then the penalty overturned. That's all Havertz. He's got to be dying inside. Like, he just needs to sit.
Well, yeah. Then maybe it would have been easier to start him from the bench. And then make his way through, but you look like he's putting full trust in him, and it's going to be a wonder or a bust. I guess you can say. But
Yeah,
as long as the
don't die on
team,
that hill, right? As long as they keep winning, it's fine. It doesn't
it's going to
matter.
be all right. It's going to be one of those players that you say, okay, this is his baby. You know what I mean? He's not going to move
Right
away
now,
from.
they're
But as
carrying
long
him. Right now, they're carrying him.
now, but last match, Arsenal fans were fuming about him. So we'll see what happens. This is a roller coaster with all big teams.
Look at
So
this. Look, here's all you have to know, right? I'm looking at the stats. Kai Havertz, of all the players who started this game, of all the outfield players, he had the least touches, 34 touches. Ramsdale had 28, Nketiah 35, Odegaard 46, Saka 49, Martinelli 58, Zinchenko 71. He had the least touches. So what you felt actually happened. Like, he was not involved in the game at all.
yeah,
Right? And you can see it. The stats show it. That's why I love stats. They
So-
usually are very good at showing you what you thought happened.
You're right. Now let's talk about Manchester City. Who can stop the reigning champions right now, going undefeated? And that's the question.
Oh, we're gonna be the Invincibles. Oh my god.
Well, the question in hand is, I mean, Arsenal have the chances, of course. I just don't know how many points. I was looking at the thing today, the schedule. I don't know how many people can make City lose points. How many teams can make City lose points this season? To be honest, I know it'll have to be Arsenal. You have to do your part, but other than that,
Liverpool away,
Liverpool
away,
Liverpool
away, United away.
But those are 9 points that you mentioned. Okay, at
Let's
home
just
as
put it
well,
this
they
way.
could lose.
They're not going to lose more than 5 games.
So
That's just how they are.
well, and so we have that. We have to put that in perspective. Like, how can this work for them not to win? Basically, is what we're saying. Now, you know,
It's
because
other
teams are going to other teams are going to try to, but
yeah, I think the thing that I think about with the team is, like I said, I really did think that there would be some hangover. It does not appear that way.
Right.
They have not. They've only played Newcastle so far, so that's not too crazy. The defense looks just as strong as ever. Haaland got a hat trick. To be fair, the first half of this game, City heads will know, and you guys don't have to talk about it. I talked about it on my show. Was terrible. City were really, really bad, and they had to figure it out. It was a very disjointed kind of lineup. Even though once they got their goal, they kind of slowed down again. It was the worst 5-1 performance you'll ever see from City. Just to give you a sense of it, in the first half, City had 4 shots.
right.
So, and 2 of them were goals. So just to give you a sense, right? Like, the Ake one was clearly offside. I feel bad for Fulham. They have a right to have beef. It was a header. Akanji was in the way. He jumps out of the way, and Leno lets the ball go through. If I were Fulham, I would have lost my shit and just be like, this is ridiculous. You guys cheated us. But it was not a great performance by City, but they got it done. They got all the goals. And in the history book, it's going to be a 5-1. But this was not a good game at all by City. I know no one wants to hear it. That's fine. But, there are things about the way City plays that are weird. One nice thing is we got to see Doku. That was fun. He had a few nice touches, but he was kind of lost. We got to see Foden play out in Grealish's spot, which was nice. Just decent stuff. I still think that Rodri Kovacic thing is fantastic. Still works really well. And we still don't have John Stones. Everything for City is working. I think fundamentally you're right. It does not look like there is a team out there right now that is better than City.
Right.
I think that between Liverpool and Arsenal, those will be the 2 that have to push. You'd assume that it's Arsenal who finds a way and gets their groove, because they were very grooved last season. They did have a lot of luck, but I think ultimately, can you get to 90 points? And that is very, very fucking hard. If you're going to beat City, you're going to get to 90 points. And if you start steaming them up, they will kick it into another gear. Or if you're behind them, if you're ahead of them by 6 points, they will chase your ass down. And whatever it takes, they will get the points. But if you can get to 90 points, they may just run out of games. They may run out of gas. They may be in a Champions League final, an FA Cup final. They may have injuries. But 90 points is the number. And that is a big, big number. hard to get to 90.
All right, we'll see what happens with City. What's going on with Chelsea, man? Losing to Nottingham Forest. I mean, the Chelsea machine is not oiled as much as we had thought. Maybe in the beginning of the season, 4 points only. In 4 matches.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna.
My big.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I was gonna say I wanted to give shout out to my guy Steve Cooper. Nottingham Forest,
doing good, yeah.
2 games.
He's been back.
They've had,
and that's the thing because
they could have beat Arsenal.
Yeah, they've been battling. They're giving everybody a run for their money. So
yeah,
that's good.
They are tough. I like what I saw. They still have a lot of transfers, a lot of players in. They're still buying way too many, but it feels like Steve Cooper has control of the group, and he has a way that he wants to play. He wants to play 5-4-1, especially when he goes away from home. Getting a win for Forest away from home, it's like their second win since they've been back in the Premier League. So for Forest, it's gigantic because we know at home this team with the City ground is just going to get games that they have no right to get. It's Anfield, it's St. James's Park. The City ground has that equivalent. And this is, to your point, this is a European champion. This is a team with a lot of history. This is a 2-time European champion, a very famous team, a very famous club, a very famous manager. Just before the Premier League started, it was all about Clough and what he did with Forest and keeping this team together on a shoestring budget. So they have good history, and it does come up when they play some of these teams, and they now have the opportunity to show that pedigree. And when you play them, you're in for a real game. So respect to them. Your guy Alanga, I shouted you out on my show.
I told you.
Scoring the goal, that you love him.
And he did play the last
Johnson.
match.
Yeah, he came off the bench. They have a goal scorer in Iwoni, which most teams in the lower half of the division don't have a goal scorer. It's nice to have one. You know he's probably good for 10 at least. And in the relegation battle, 10 goals is gold. If you get to 15, you're probably not getting relegated. So we know that they have that. And then from the Chelsea perspective, I think it's still disconnected. It's just not a group.
Hey, let me tell you one thing, though. Caicedo, that boy struggles he struggles trying to make things happen, trying to create. He's not a creator, but we knew that. But he is. I mean, it changes when you're in a big club and all of a sudden they pass you the ball and you can't punt it out of the stadium. You're not allowed to do that. You have to think a little more. And the boy, it's I don't mean it as a derogatory term.
Oh, you can. It's okay. We can blast him.
But he is a boy. So he has a lot of growing to do. And again, a lot of pressure this year because he is the highest paid player or transfer so far. Mm-hmm. And Enzo Fernandez is a really good player, but obviously something is missing for Chelsea. You question whether this kid that I forgot his name, that he played for City and Arsenal too. What's his name? He just
Cole
left.
Palmer?
No, not a kid. He's not a kid no more. But he, goodness, come on, Sterling.
Sterling. Yeah. Well, he's the leader. He has to control this team.
Well, Thiago Silva is the leader,
which is the weird thing about it. Oh, but yeah, but I don't think he speaks English.
Well, but as far as I mean, I don't. I think they have the pieces.
Listen, this is all you have to know, right? When you look at the team, Colwill, Diassi, Sanchez, Chilwell, Sterling, and Thiago Silva are the only players over 25 in that lineup. Everyone else is 23 and under.
Right,
and in fact, half the team is under 22. Nico Jackson had a chance, really should have buried that. I love him. I think he's going to come good, but those types of moments will really hurt your confidence to miss something like that. They're really relying on Enzo Fernandez doing things. They just don't. They're still babies. They have no connection to each other. They have no cohesion. One day they're good, one day they're bad. Like, they just don't have any leaders. They don't know what they are anymore. One thing somebody said that was really interesting about Caicedo is like, and you listen when you hear about De Zerbi. I was listening to the post match with Conor Gallagher. Sorry, with with Billy Gilmore and Evan Ferguson after they beat Newcastle, the Brighton players are like, oh, De Zerbi, we know exactly what every play is. They know everything. He gives them all the information. When they get the ball, where it goes next. You think you think Chelsea has that? You think Caicedo knows where the next pass is supposed to go? Everything,
Right.
He may be a system player. Think about what happened with Cucurella. He came to Chelsea. He was a mess. Maybe Brighton is not a place to go get players from because they don't connect. I mean, Trossard did well when he went to Arsenal, but so far the only player who's left Brighton and been good has been Trossard, I guess. But, I don't know. It's weird. Maybe he's a system player. Maybe they need more coaching. Whatever it is, Chelsea.
But they got a good coach.
They can need time. It needs to be time. They need a lot of time.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think you're right. They need a lot of time. So I think this season could be just try to finish top 4 type season and get to the Champions.
Top 4. They'd be lucky if they finish top 4.
Get to the Champions League, compete for something like that. But advance. You have to advance from last season. It's not about getting better. You obviously have to do better than last season. You can't get any worse than that. But
there's no way they're finishing top 4. Not the way they are now.
No, of course. But, you got the long season. I'm saying it's not about the Premier League at this point. And, Mudryk.
Oh, no, they're not winning the Premier League. No chance.
But yeah, I know. But when you talk to Chelsea, you have to, have expectations. And, of course, they're not going to – I don't think they're going to fight for the Premier League. But at least you have to try to get back to the Champions League. I don't think that's even a debate.
They should try. I think that I said this on my show. I think that ultimately it's going to be very, I know this sounds weird to say, but I'm going to say it like this. It's going to be very similar to how Nottingham Forest was last season. And by that, I mean, Nottingham Forest had a complete redo of their team. They had 30 signings. They had to get rid of all their players. And they had a very difficult, disjointed first half of the season. Second half, put together performances, figured out who they were, and kept going. I think that if Chelsea can get to like 30 points at the halfway mark, and then in the second half of the season go on like a 30. If they were to get 60 to 75 points, finish in 5th, that would be incredible. They'll be much better in the second half of the season. This first half is going to be tough. It's going to be tough because they have to make a team. There's nothing. They have to connect. They have to put it all together.
They just need a lot of time.
They need to stop buying players.
Yeah. At this point, I think
players.
Yeah, at this point, the owner made his point. Everybody.
Bowley.
Everybody that was there last season that are gone. I think he made the point that it was bad last season. Now let's keep it in perspective. Reece James is a good, important player. He's out. Romeo Lavia, we'll see how he does. He's still a young player, but still out. And of course, in Nkunku, another
young players.
Another player
that need him. They need him.
And so he's out, and we'll see. We'll see what happens when it comes to that. So the next match in task, we have to talk about Newcastle and Brighton. You got me on that one. I will let you have it. But I said it on the chat, and I'm not ready yet to call for. I'm not going to pick up the phone and talk to Sheik about this yet, but Eddie Howe has to question himself. Yeah, he has to question himself because you have to be honest with yourself. I know that sometimes it's how you look at things. Like I can get this team over this hump, or there are other coaches that will recognize and say, "Listen, I don't at this point. I don't know how I can move forward." And I know it's 4 games, and people are going to say that the first thing they're going to say, he saved us from relegation. Only 4 games in.
Yeah, I know.
But if you're trying to be a big club, you can't live on the past. If you're trying to do new things, better things, compete for the I don't even know. I mean, looking at these matches and at the performances, I don't know how you compete for the Champions League. Being in that group.
Well, they might not get out. They're not going to get out of the group.
Well, I mean, I said that it could happen that they even finish first if they put it into their head.
It could. Either thing is possible. Yeah.
But playing like this it's not gonna get it done. It's not gonna get it done. And you got to give.
Something is not working. Yeah, it's not
Something,
working right
something with the, I mean, just man, I'm gonna look at my stats because, but Brighton on the other hand, tremendous job. I mean, you know,
Oh, so good.
they're going to, it's going to be tough playing European football for them as well to see, you know,
Mhm.
what they do, because obviously they're not going to win the Champions League, less likely to win the Premier League. So what is the goal? Finish top four again. That's a good goal. Do well in
For
the
Newcastle, yeah.
no, for I was talking for Brighton. No Champions League for Brighton, but
Finishing
for,
finishing in the
meaning
top 4 for Brighton would be
will
like
be
winning the
another.
title.
Right. So that could be a goal for Brighton, and do well, of course, on
Yeah.
the UEFA, the Europa League.
Europa League.
And so those could be good things. We'll see how Ansu Fati does. I mean, he's a good player. We'll see how he adapts to the team. But Brighton are doing things well, and in this match in particular, I mean, they just were
My
better.
guy, Evan Ferguson. It's a fucking legend, my guy. Oh my God, he was incredible. I've been
Yeah.
calling out this guy's name. Evan Ferguson makes me happy beyond happiness. I loved all the players. How about 5'5" Billy Gilmore bossing your boys, Tonali and Guimaraes, just controlling the midfield. Tiny, getting knocked over, passes around the corner. Always someone had the ball, always running to show for the ball. Where was that from Newcastle? They were sort of jogging to the next player.
Yeah.
Gilmore was like, give it to me. I'm ready. Let's do this. I got a ball around the corner. I know where my next pass is going to go.
And what I felt with Newcastle was that they were just running a step behind the whole time. Like they were playing in altitude somewhere.
Well. Yeah,
and
nobody played well.
And
not one player can come out of that game saying that they played well.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, Guimaraes is tough to have him in the middle because he's not a defender.
Nope.
And so you have to pick your poison. I know things, because people think that just because it worked to a certain extent last season, all of a sudden everything you have to do the same thing. Look, you had the best defense. To me, you have to pick your poison. You're going to have the best defense and be in a counterattack type club. Then you need to do that, and you need to start with your number 5, 6, whatever you want to call it. He can't be Bruno Guimaraes. You know what I mean? It has to be either.
But the problem is it is.
Well, and I guess this is talk for last. And I guess this is talk. This is talk of, we should talk about this last week. This week is too late. It is what it is. You got what you got, and so I think Tonali would be better there in the middle part. You know, defending. He didn't start the game.
I think they kind of want to do the same thing. Is the problem? Is Tonali and Guimaraes are very overlapping skills. They're both kind of deep lying.
I think Guimaraes is
defensive. They'll come for the ball.
Well, I think Tonali is more defensive than Guimaraes. I think Guimaraes is very
okay. Then play him in the 6.
I think he's very just he makes certain mistakes that just shouldn't happen. I guess, or he's not in the game maybe at times. I don't, and I don't know if, but in this, but you got. I mean, the lineup.
Whatever the case is. Remember, after week 1, I was like, "Oh, does Newcastle have the best midfield in the league?" I was wrong, clearly. Right. How are you getting completely?
Well, now it's not
by Gilmore and Pascual Gross. How does that happen? Pascual Gross is 35 years old. Like, he can't run, and he was just drifting past dudes. The other thing is, like, Hal got out coached. Like, this is what De Zerbi does. They would, like, between João Pedro and Ferguson, they kept on dropping deep, and they'd split the defense over and over again. Newcastle would try and press, and boom, there was someone behind them, and he was turning and going. And they were just like, fuck, what do we do? They didn't. And then when they dropped off, boom, Matoma, a long ball into the corner on the wing, or Solly March. It's really, really tough to play Brighton. And I don't, the defense of Newcastle is, you played Liverpool that you should have won. You played a tough away to City. No one's going to win that game. And this Brighton and Hove Albion game, what you just got.
I don't even think that's an excuse. I don't even think that's an excuse, because it's not that
The
you
performances are bad. That's
when
the
you
problem,
look at
yeah.
the games in particulars, you left the game against Liverpool way too early. That shouldn't happen. That's not about getting outplayed. In Manchester City, you didn't even think you could win it or could go. You might as well
Yep.
not even show up because that's the mentality that was happening.
agree.
Aston
I
Villa
agree.
was perfect, and then in this match against Brighton, it just looked like they were tired. It looked like they were playing at altitude in Bolivia somewhere. And
Well, I mean, it is a 350-mile trip from
Yeah.
Newcastle to the South Coast.
so
Man, 350 miles in the U.S. is like a Sunday
Nothing.
drive.
Exactly. I just went to Nashville, Tennessee, and it was way more than that for 4 hours. So but
I don't want to. I know I go on about Brighton, but I do want to really
Yeah.
give. Evan Ferguson is 18 years old and scored a hat trick in the Premier League.
yeah,
The
no,
only other players who've done that are Robbie Fowler, an all-time legend, and Michael Owen, an all-time legend. This is a very special player that we just saw
Yeah.
an emergence, a real thing happen.
he is
'Cause
definitely
it had been there. It had been growing. He's
see.
maybe he's the new Kane. Give him a couple years, but they have their next $150 million player to
Right.
sell if someone comes for him. He's got it all. He's so good. Oh my God. Left foot, right foot, man. Legend.
Yeah, De Zerbi's doing his thing out there, and Ciso's out as well, another good player. So, oh man, I don't even know what to say about it. I look at Newcastle and I'm like, was this the right year? But no, but we're gonna keep riding on the Newcastle side, man. But I'm gonna be critical, of course. People are killing us on Instagram. People are killing us on YouTube. I like it, so just keep it coming. But it is what it is.
I'm riding my beloved Brighton. My only
Yeah.
fear is that they need to stop winning, or else someone is going to just hire De Zerbi away from him. Like he's going to end
And
up
that's
at Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, or Liverpool, or something,
and
or
that's-
Newcastle.
and that's the thing that's what happens with these teams. Then the reason why they can't keep moving on forward is because somebody will take Evan Ferguson, somebody will take De Zerbi and so forth. So we'll see what
I think
happens.
De Zerbi is actually the bigger risk. I mean, Ferguson can go.
Yeah.
They'll find one other way. It's De Zerbi that I don't want to leave Brighton.
Yeah. Hey, did you hear about England exploring Pep Guardiola as Gareth Southgate's replacement?
Pep Guardiola is not going to coach England before he coaches Spain.
No,
Come on,
he don't care about Spain.
nuts.
He don't care about Spain.
Yes, he
You-
does.
You should know that. No, he's Catalan. He doesn't care about Spain. Come on. No, that's the bottom line.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't know that. I don't know that it is Pep's, goal to coach in the World Cup. I mean, maybe not. I don't think it's moving.
Sure.
I don't think it's moving his. I don't think it's moving his. I mean, hey, being a World Cup winner, certainly England has talent. But what do you think, man? I mean, Southgate has been questioned, calling Maguire again for this international break.
By the way, Southgate did some very, very important things for England. One, he gave a really good vibes. He really connected the group together. That's a very tight England group that never used to happen with England. They used to fight with each other between the United guys and the Chelsea guys and the Liverpool guys. So that part is together. There is a lot of cohesion. He is loyal, so players that play for him really love him. But he is weak on tactics. He's so defensive. He doesn't let the handbrakes off. Now, you could argue that tournament football should not be that way, but it is turgid, and he's not a top-level coach. Otherwise, he would have coached in the Premier League. Most national team coaches are either really young, unproven coaches or really old guys trying to get their final check, or it depends on the country. In the U.S., our best coaches are our national team. I don't know why that is. It's fucking stupid. But I'll tell you this. If Pep Guardiola coached England, they would be favorites to win whatever their next tournament is. That team has good players. And any team that has Jude Bellingham, Harry Kane, John Stones, that's a good team. And Kyle Walker and all these players. I mean, they're there. They have
this Evans kid.
They have the players.
I mean, you're right. They have the play, but in all due honesty, they've always had the players. And who
Have they?
Yes. Are you kidding me? Are we gonna get into this deep deep hole that you won't be able to
They
get
had
out of?
major problems. They had too many players who did the same thing. They
No.
never had a good enough defense. They also
But-
had no tactical understanding at
Yeah,
all.
yeah, but that's
The
not their
English players
problem.
will admit it. They'll be like, "I didn't know what to do. We didn't
That-
have a plan."
But that's not their problem. That's the maybe if they had a Pep Guardiola, they would have done
maybe.
something. But you
Maybe.
can't tell me if Frank Lampard, Gerrard, who are actually they were battling that
The same
place.
position. That was the problem.
But they
were
could still be,
duplicative.
but they admit, I saw something online. I don't know whose show it was, but they admitted in many words were said, but they came around the same answer that maybe they didn't care too much, and
Oh,
so
it was awful to play for England. It was too hard.
and so
And the
you
league
know,
mattered more.
I mean, but you just look at the. I don't know. I don't know if I can say that Beckham was part of that run. Maybe at the end of his career
He
was
he
was
He
with them.
absolutely.
But you also
Like
got
2002 with
2006.
2006 with
Yeah.
Rooney. Come on, he was.
Wayne.
still
I
good.
mean Wayne Rooney. You have of course
So many good
Lampard,
players.
Gerrard. I mean, not very,
They never
I mean,
really had a 9. They never really had a good number 9.
Well,
I mean, Rooney
Michael
sometimes.
Michael Owens was there a little bit.
98, yeah. But he could
Well, he
only
could
play
still-
one
he could-
way. He couldn't play with his back to goal.
Wayne
They-
Rooney,
you know, he
yeah,
was always running behind.
Wayne Rooney would have been.
Rooney always got hurt.
Ashley Cole,
in the
Joe
wrong
Cole.
time.
They had good.
Joe Cole, what a player! They had a lot of good players. Sure,
They had a lot of good play. What was the goalkeeper? Well, Foster, and this your goalkeeper.
Rob Green.
No,
Joe Hart?
Joe Hart. Ooh,
Joe Hart?
Don't let Joe Hart play with the ball, boy, because he's a goal. He was a goalkeeper for a reason. But I mean, hey, so you don't think this could happen though?
No.
Okay. Now to finish off, did you look at what happened between what happened with your boy Roy Keane? Always try. I don't think it was his fault this time, but he always. I don't think he's always in it, boy. And this Arsenal fan just went and tried to headbutt him, broke his own nose.
Yeah, but
Mika Richards
was in there.
Wasn't he a
really
former City player?
former City? Yeah, legend.
Boy, legend. Of course, everybody at the City is you mentioned this.
Yeah,
legend,
we
of
don't
course.
have enough players. Everyone's a legend.
But
we have
that
no history. Everyone's
he-
a legend.
he
Do
was
we- you don't want to talk about Liverpool? You don't want to talk
Oh yeah.
Tottenham?
Well, I mean, they can be our honorable mentions. Liverpool, they're killing it. I will say that. I
I
mean,
want to talk about Heung-min Son and the third. We had a hat trick of hat.
oh
tricks.
yeah. Son
We had
is
3 hat tricks.
Son is pretty good. I think Tottenham needs a really good striker in the middle, though. I thought that Richarlison was probably going to. He could imitate what Kane did if it wasn't for his attitude, but I don't
They can
see.
play. Son can play. Son can play the 9.
But who's going to play
He's done
Son?
it before.
Who's
They
going
got
to play?
enough wingers. They'll put Manar Salomon out there. They'll put Kulishevsky. They got another guy. Oh God, what they signed someone else I can't remember his name. Anyway, they could put Son at the 9. They have enough guys in that position that they can put out there. It would work. It would work. Yeah, I
good
mean,
job by
I just like to
Postecoglou,
bring it
though.
up because my guy
Postecoglou,
Vincent Company, he's getting a little bit of a rude awakening in the Premier League.
well, I mean, yeah, it is. They're more than likely going to be. I don't have my iPad, but I don't. I'm trying. Oh, actually, who did we have relegating? Maybe I wrote it down somewhere.
I
don't
did
think
not
so.
have Burnley getting relegated.
I don't remember,
But I think the key thing has been the revelation, just the Ange ball, just unleashing James Maddison to just be everywhere and cause
Well, he's
problems.
been-
Now, shouldn't go overboard on a Tottenham Hotspur game against Burnley, but Burnley did go up in this game.
no, but it's
and
about
then
doing what you
beat
have
him
to
up.
do. It's about doing what you have to do, man. Anything above that is a plus. So if Burnley would have beaten Tottenham 3-0, then it would have been all
It
hell
would've been a
loose.
problem.
So it's about doing what you have to do. I didn't like some things defensively need to be adjusted.
Oh yeah, they're always gonna have problems defensively.
But you
because
trust
they're
Ashford.
they're defending with 2. They're defending with 2. They
Right,
don't care.
right. But it's
That's how he
good.
wants
It's
to
good
play.
for so like you would look at Postecoglou and you would think, man, this is about to be another Mourinho, another a Simeone team. But no, he's actually actually doing his thing and put this team back on top, you can say.
A fun team, a team to watch. Another
Right.
one of my sons, because he came from Brighton, Yves Basuma, just making that whole team work. Him and Papa Sarr, they're just doing all the work in the engine room in front of that back four. That's not really a back four. In front of that box two with the two defenders and the two holding midfielders. They holding everything up. When they need to get the ball, they get it and they just give it to James Madison and they're off. You Doggy is you dope. I love him. A lot of things for Spurs are going really, really well.
Right.
I think Van de Ven, the hardest thing to find in football, a really good young center back. They
That's
found
a good.
it. And
That's a
he's
good
fast.
signing.
He's a little bit wooden, but he's big and he can run.
That was a good
And so,
signing.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah. Good. Listen, this is the thing that I talk about with Spurs fans. They kill Levy like he's the worst. But I'm like, you know what? Be careful what you wish for. Because the one thing we know about Levy is even though he's a pain in the ass and he can be a pain in the neck, he does love the club and he does want Spurs to win.
Right.
He just does it on the cheap and he haggles and he fights and he drives everyone crazy. But the best period in Spurs history, aside from Nicholson in the 60s, has been this ownership group. They have not finished out of the top 10 in 20 years. That's under Levy. That's really good. And they went to a Champions League final. They've had great players. So as much as Levy can be annoying and he doesn't kick Spurs on to win the title, you're there. You're close. And maybe that's the annoying part, but be careful what you wish for. You might end up like Manchester United, the worst run club in all the Premier League.
On that note, we end this show. Of course, we start with Laurent killing United, and we end it the same way. Nothing changed. So no big deal at all. No big
Listen,
deal at all.
I'm not wrong. Prove me wrong.
Anyways,
What team is run worse than United? Everton, who we didn't get to talk about.
But yeah, we I mean, don't talk about Everton, man. I feel every time I feel like Wayne Rooney rolling over in his grave, Lineker rolling over in his grave. Man, it's just a lot of.
You know what?
The
Though?
hell's
I think they're
going
going to
on?
be okay. I think they're going to be okay. I like Danjuma and I like Beto. I think they're going to be okay now.
Hey, lastly, what do you think about this Anthony situation? Must leave the club? Well, he can't, but he probably needs.
I think he's going to get a different treatment than
He has to get the
did
Greenwood
because
treatment.
he's going to get different. No, because with Greenwood you had audio and you had video and it was the
You have
girls
text.
stuff.
I see the Sun.
Oh, we do.
The Sun
okay.
posted some text,
Okay.
graphic text. So we'll see. And injury picks as well, according to them.
Oh,
So
okay. Oh, did you put something on my green screen or just turned it blue?
well, we'll try to fix it on the go, but we'll have it ready for the next time. You have to light up the green screen really well, man. So you put some
Okay. I don't
put
know.
some stuff. But anyways, thank you so much for listening and watching live on YouTube, live on the topfcradio.com website. We're also on other radio directories, so just check us out on your application. We are going to be live on AMP as well. That's a new app that's growing. And we're always on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Thank you so much for listening and watching. You can listen to these on demand on Spotify. If you do so, please follow us. And of course, Laurent Cortine came out with a new show yesterday. Really good and interesting. He goes in depth into the Premier League. Really, every single game in depth, more than we do here on this general football, general news show. So just go check him out. He's got
and your boy. You forgot about your boy Bellingham. Oh no.
Oh yeah, no, Bellingham is doing really well. Another goal at the last minute. The Real Madrid fans are going crazy over him, asking or actually saying, "Why do we need Mbappe anymore?"